Hello friends, welcome to Physics Follow OnlyIAS. So today we are going to discuss how to prepare for public administration optional and what are the books that you need to refer. So without any further delay, let me take you to the books for paper 1. So you can clearly see it's a comprehensive list because Administrative Thinkers by Prasadan Prasad, Public Administration Lakshmikant, Public Administration Public Affairs 12th edition Nicholas Henry, Public Administration Avasti and Maheshwari, New Horizons of Public Administration Mohit Bhattacharya, IGNU materials, and then finally the internet. It is, I know, a vast list, and once anybody looks at this list, they'll get the first impression that the paper is very tough. This paper is not easy. This paper is not scoring. This is the impression that you get. But what if I told you, you don't have to read all these books page by page, word to word. You need to handpick the content that you need according to the syllabus and according to the question paper pattern that was asked in the last 10 years. With that, you'll get a clear idea what to prepare and what to leave. Because the idea when it comes to mains exam, especially your optional, is to know what not to study, because you cannot put the same amount of effort for all the topics. You need to pick and choose your battles. So let us see now how to go about this. So this is the first chapter in paper 1, introduction. And if you see, meaning, scope and significance of public administration, and then you have Wilson's vision of public administration, you have evolution of the discipline, its present status, new public administration, public choice approach, challenges of liberalization, privatization, globalization, good governance, concept and application, new public management. Now, if I were to draw a continuum and then write this, I will start off with Woodrow Wilson. Then I will talk about other classical thinkers. Then human relation thinkers, behavioral thinkers, parallelly I would even deal with new public administration, then new public management, new public service, good governance, e-governance. This is basically what the evolution of public administration. We are somewhere close to here now. That is e-governance. Beyond that also we have proceeded, like for example, we have started using AI in public administration. But this is the general idea. And this is nothing but the evolution. And if you look at it, this whole thing, that is with thinkers, how PubAd has evolved, and otherwise also as a subject, how it has evolved, like NPA, new public administration, new public management, new public service, all of that. If you see, 2 chapters will get over. That is the second chapter. If you look at it, what is it about? Administrative thoughts, scientific management and scientific management movement, classical theory, Weber's bureaucratic model, its critique, post-Weberian development, Mary Parker Foley, human relations school, functions of the executive, Simon's decision making, participative management consisting of Likert, Argyris, McGregor. This is basically what I have represented here as the thinkers in the above line, and this is what is the other aspect of evolution. So the second chapter, which entirely consists of thinkers, I have represented it in the continuum here. And for that second chapter, the best book to refer will be Prasadan Prasad. The list, it is pretty much, it covers the entire thinkers as mentioned here. You can complete it entirely. Now, one word of warning when you start reading Prasadan Prasad. You must understand that it is not written by a single author. It is a work of amalgamation. That is, multiple authors have contributed to it. Now, the other thing that you need to know is not everything you need to sit and by heart. Sometimes in their pretext of explaining things, they have gone ahead to explain how things evolved, the history, how each thinker did what, then they went here, then they understood, then they revised. We don't require all that stories for public administration. Our idea behind studying any puppet thinker is to understand how they contributed to the subject. What is their contribution? And what is right or what is relevant today and what is not so relevant today. That's it. So sometimes you will see immediately in Prasad and Prasad, after they give a brief introduction about the thinker, the next thing that they do is they will give the life and works. They'll talk about the books written, the year what happened, then what did they do, all that. You don't need all that information. One or two, you may note it down. Why? Because you can put it in your introduction to make it look great. But otherwise, it is not so relevant. Clear, people? So Prasad and Prasad will do here. Coming to the first chapter, what is NPA, NPM, and etc. You may go with Avasti and Maheshwari. You may also go with Nicholas Henry's book just to read about the paradigms of administration. That is more than sufficient. In case you are finding it still difficult to get any particular topic, Google that particular topic's name, along with that type IGNOU. Google the topic name, along with that write IGNOU. When you do that, you will get the topic. Now IGNOU material, the advantage of it is you may get things in a much more simplified format. Language will be a little more simpler. Thing with Prasad and Prasad as well as Avasti and Maheshwari is you may find the language to be a little on the tougher side. Little, not telling it is too tough, but anybody who is reading the Hindu newspaper should find it pretty much comfortable. Otherwise, some people may find it a little difficult. If you're finding it difficult, you can refer the IGNOU material on any day. The problem now is, even in IGNOU material also, you have to know where you should pick or what you should let go of. For that, again, the only solution is you need to have a, be in touch with the question paper. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. Moving on to the next chapters. The third chapter, administrative behavior, process and techniques of decision making, communication, morale, motivation, theories, content, process and contemporary, theories of leadership, traditional and modern. This is basically, again, if you see, communication, morale, etc. Again, Avasti and Maheshwari is a very good book for this. You can even refer Lakshmikant also. A third choice would be IGNOU notes again. These are the three options there. Again, let me tell you, pick and choose. Where you find the content to be a little easier, please choose that. If the explanation is given in an easier fashion to understand, then that will be always better to, refer to. All right. Then, moving further, organizations, theory, system, contingency, structure and forms. Now till here, I would suggest actually IGNOU material. That is more than sufficient. They have given it in very simple and lucid language. It is easily available in the internet also. You may refer IGNOU material for this. The remaining part, ministries and departments, companies, boards, this particular topic, it is pretty much static. Again, you can refer Avasti and Maheshwari or Lakshmikant for the same. Clear, people? Accountability and control, concepts of accountability and control, legislative, executive, judicial control over administration. Now, this portion of this section, you can easily refer it from actually paper 2, because in paper 2 you actually have union administration, where you again talk about legislature, executive and judiciary. So I would suggest you pick it up from there. When I discuss paper 2 books, you can go for that. Citizen and administration, role of media, interest groups, voluntary organization, civil society, citizens charter, right to information, social audit. Now, social audit, if you see, it is actually an outcome of new public service. The same thing applies for right to information as well as citizens charter. So this you would have already covered. The other aspects, role of media, voluntary organizations, etc., that is where your current affairs comes into play. And once again, you can go for the theoretical books Lakshmikant, and Avasti and Maheshwari. Administrative law, meaning, scope, and significance. Dicey on administrative law, delegated legislation, administrative tribunals. Again, Avasti Maheshwari, Lakshmikant, and you may even refer IGNOU for this. Comparative public administration, historical and sociological factors, administrative systems, administration and politics in different countries. This you may refer it for paper 2. Current status of CPA, ecology and administration, Rigsian models and their critique. I would suggest go for IGNOU. Pretty much decent explanation has been given in IGNOU. IGNOU material will do for this. Development dynamics, concept of development, changing profile of development administration, anti-development thesis, bureaucracy and development, strong state versus the market debate, impact of liberalization on administration developing countries, women and development, the self-help group movement. Once again, Avasti Maheshwari, Lakshmikant, as well as IGNOU materials. Personal administration. Here, you may have to refer a little bit of what I would say second ARC also, because they have given certain suggestions with regard to how recruitment processes have to be changed. Apart from that, the other aspects again, static it is. You may refer Avasti and Maheshwari as well as Lakshmikant. Yes, some topics are actually even available in IGNOU materials also. Public policy, models of policy making and their critique, processes of conceptualization, planning, implementation, monitoring, evaluation, review, limitation, state theories and public policy formulation. You may directly go for IGNOU materials here. More than sufficient. Techniques of administrative improvement, organization and methods, work study, work management, e-governance, information technology, management aid tools like network analysis, MIS, PERT, CPM. IGNOU materials, Avasti and Maheshwari. Financial administration. Now this particular aspect, financial administration, you will find it is in sync with one of the chapter again in paper 2. So you may do both these chapters and do it off together. Once again, material for this, you will find it easily in any economic textbook, because as you can clearly see, most of the topics are in sync with the economic topics what you have for GS. Alright, so this is actually part of GS, but then again, here the key is you need to analyze the mains question paper and answer it in terms of public administration. You cannot answer it like a GS paper. So previous year mains question paper you will analyze first to understand the nature of the question and then do your preparation accordingly. Material you will get it easily even from the internet also. These definitions are easily available. But what you're going to do is you're going to study it in such a way that it becomes suitable for public administration. Coming to paper 2. Now the books for paper 2, if you see, you have Indian Public Administration by Arora and Goyal. Your Public Administration in India by Professor B.L. Fadi and Dr. Kuldeep Fadia. Second ARC report summary, newspapers, internet. Yes, newspapers. Very, very, very important. Because your current affairs knowledge as well as your awareness of contemporary issues becomes important. In paper 2, a straightaway question was asked with regard to Swachh Bharat. Clearly shows how much aware you have to be. Barring a few topics which are very static in nature, every other topic is of a dynamic nature. Let us see that now. The very first chapter, Evolution of Indian Administration, is probably the only static portion, direct static chapter in paper 2. If you look at it, Kautilya's Arthashastra, Mughal administration, legacy of British rule in politics and administration, Indianization of public services, revenue administration, district administration, local self-government. Most of these topics are easily available in Goyal and Arora. Okay. As far as the other topics are concerned, like revenue administration, district administration, local self-government, the interesting thing is these are separate chapters again in paper 2. The irony, or rather I don't know, maybe it's like a comedy, that most of the topics of PubMed paper are pretty much overlapping. Paper 1, paper 2 overlaps are there. There are overlaps within each chapter also. The point what I want to stress here is overall, if you club such chapters, you will see that it is max to max. PubAt contains only 16 or 17 chapters. Rest all, it is the same thing. They have repeated it here and there. We'll get to see that even more when we go further. Philosophical and constitutional framework of government, salient features and value premises, constitutionalism, political culture, bureaucracy and democracy, bureaucracy and development. If you remember it, there was a chapter where again we had read the same topic, bureaucracy and development. And here again, you need to know about the constitutional aspects of other countries also, which was also a question in, which was also a topic in another chapter of paper 1. So again, it is the same thing. Here again, you talk about the static syllabus and the constitutional arrangements in different countries. You may go for Fadia and Fadia here. Clear. Public sector undertaking. Public sector in modern India, forms of public sector undertaking, problems of autonomy, accountability and control, impact of liberalization and privatization. Get a basic idea from Goyal and Arora. After that, you need to update this with current affairs. That is what is important here. Like, you need to know which are the public sector units that are actually relevant even today, why certain public sector units got shut down, a clear idea of what you mean by a strategic sector and non-strategic sector. Why are we going for privatization? And when you're going to do for privatization, you need to also talk about monetization of the government resources. So all those topics which are like currently being discussed, that you need to cover here. Union government and administration, executive, parliament, judiciary, structure, function, work processes, recent trends, intra-governmental relation, cabinet secretariat, PMO's office, central secretariat, ministries and departments, boards, commissions. If you remember, this was also there in paper 1. Attached offices, field organizations. It is the same thing again, but with a different perspective. There they had focused mostly on the structure. Here it is about the application. So what are you going to do? Again the same thing. You will refer Goyal and Arora. You will also look into Fadia and Fadia. Then specifically you are going to cover the topics from internet. Because you need to stand updated, especially with regard to Prime Minister's office, like Prime Minister's office's evolution, that will be available. You also need to see how Prime Minister's office, what is the current relevance of Prime Minister's office today? Is it a strong body? Is it a weak body? For that, you need to refer the internet and find out the the latest update, because of this one single word here, the recent trends. The same thing goes for judiciary, executive, legislature at all levels. Why? Because you need to know what is currently happening. What is news maybe 10 years ago is not relevant for PubAt preparation today. So last 1 year, whatever would have happened, judicial activism, judicial overreach, all that you need to, or judicial adventurism, all these topics you need to cover with the latest cases and the latest examples. Clear, people? Plans and priorities. Now this chapter, if you actually see, to an extent it is obsolete, for the simple reason that Planning Commission and NDC is no more relevant. So your focus should be actually on Niti Aayog. And yes, preparation of Niti Aayog versus the Planning Commission, maybe the problems associated with NDC, like how analyzing NDC's work, how was NDC a powerful body, why NDC was important or why NDC was good, and why NDC became obsolete in the 21st century. What is the reason for it? So this analysis is what you need to give. Again, the best source for this is again the internet, more than any book. State government and administration. Again, you have done union government, so you'll have to do state government also. Static portion, yes, you can, for the articles and all that. The articles and the basic structure of union government, state government, judiciary, etc. You may easily refer Lakshmikant's Indian Polity. Purposefully, I didn't write it under the reference section because any which way you will be reading this book, one or the other way. So that is the point there. So you can refer to that book for a basic idea. But when it comes to the real life working practicality, you have to stay in touch with the current affairs, especially for example, the issues between lieutenant governor and the chief minister, issues between chief minister and governor. This has been in news constantly, and this is a sure shot area from where you will always get questions from. So prepare it from current affairs. District administration, like I told you, district administration, which was a portion of our initial chapter in paper 2, again it has come separately here. So this is where you need to refer the second ARC reports. Second ARC, again collector's role, all of that. So you can refer again Goyal and Arora as well as Fadia and Fadia. And along with that, yes, internet also comes into play here. Internet, newspapers, civil services. So if you remember, personal administration was a chapter in paper 1. It is very much connected to this. So once again, it is second ARC. A brief idea you need to have about civil services, etc. So once again, Goyal Arora, Fadia, newspapers, internet. Financial management. If you remember, there was a chapter itself in paper 1 talking about monetary policy, fiscal policy. This chapter is also not much different from it. It is more or less the same. So these two chapters, if you actually see, your preparation for economics will guide you here. But more than that, what you need to know here is how to prepare this chapter with respect to PubAd. So that is where you need to refer the PYQ. And once again, arm twist your preparation to suit the needs of the paper 2 questions asked. So that is all that you have to do here. Again, best source for this is, I would suggest, internet. More than sufficient. And yes, second ARC reports also for any added material. Administrative reforms since independence, major concerns, important committees and commissions, reforms in financial management, human resource development, problems of implementation. This is basically second ARC, second Administrative Reforms Commission, and major committees like the Punchi Commission, Sarkaria Commission, Malimat Committee, Ribeiro Committee. Multiple committees are there. You will come across it when you are obviously preparing with Goyal, Arora, and Fadia. And any major committees or commissions which are in news, that also you need to track down. All right. As you can clearly see, two generalistic terms they have used here. So that means you need to be very aware of what are the questions that were asked here. Accordingly, you need to pick the content from here. I agree. Most of this, you may find it to be like everything is too vast, everything is too general. It is not. The only delay you may take is in finding it initially. But once you get the material and you arrange it according to the question paper, then it becomes easy because you have very limited content then. The only problem is people don't know where to search for. Material, I have put it over here. Just look at the topic, search it in the internet. You're still unable to find. You can, on any day, go to IGNOU. IGNOU is also not that it should be in the newspaper. Because whatever questions UPSC asks, always you will have a source of reference for it. They will not ask something like a bolt from the blue. There will be a point of reference. Rural development, institutions, agencies since independence, rural development program, foci and strategies, decentralization, Panchayati Raj, 73rd Constitutional Amendment. Again, part of it, you can do it from Lakshmi Kant's Indian Polity, then from the internet. Please be a little more aware about various rural schemes and rural problems. For a basic idea, you may refer Goyal and Arora as well as Fadia and Fadia. But beyond that, it is newspapers, current affairs that you need to have a grasp over. Urban local government goes without saying, again the same policy. Goyal Arora, Fadia, internet, newspapers. And in almost all the chapters, one report that you have to constantly refer to is the second ARC. Because second ARC has given certain suggestions to improve governance. So you need to constantly keep that summary with you, not the entire bulky report, just the summary of the reports and see which ones you can handpick and apply where. Law and order administration. So this is completely to do with policing. So you need to have a history, awareness of the history, then the current issues. Goyal and Aurora, along with Fadia and Fadia, newspapers, second ARC, internet. Significant issues in Indian administration. This is just again a repeat, like whatever committees have recommended, whatever commissions have recommended, and what is it? Anything, if at all, Niti Aayog has recommended. All these major recommendations, because that is what it means. Significant issues, regulatory commissions, human rights commission, problems, citizen administration interface, corruption administration, disaster management, everything that is latest and ongoing. I would seriously recommend to start with second ARC and go through it first. Simultaneously analyze the previous year questions. Accordingly, prepare your content from internet and current affairs. That is what you can do here. Clear, people? So if you literally see, if you ask me to put it in a nutshell, paper 1, you have proper textbooks for it. But when it comes to paper 2, it is largely current affair application. All right. The mistake that most students make is, paper 1, what I want you to do is, I'll tell you what to do first. Because the mistake that many students make is, they don't analyze the question paper properly. So what you do is, you take paper 1, okay, segregate the questions according to what? Topic. So find out per topic how many questions you got. Based on the topic, start, then take the topic first. Say for example, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, maybe in the last 10 years, you would have got only 2 questions. Okay. So just pick out the textbook, read about Woodrow Wilson, prepare a content which will satisfy maybe say 4 or 5 pages. That's it. Then move on to the next question. Like that, when you start covering it topic wise, what happens is you will end up covering the syllabus. Again, last 10 years question paper at least you should take to do this exercise. Same thing goes for paper 2. Segregate question wise the topics. Say for example, Kautilya. Accordingly, maybe last 10 years you would have got at least 5 questions. Accordingly, prepare the content for it. Thus, what happens? Your preparation becomes very easy. Now, the challenging aspect is, when you write paper 1 topic, let us say you're talking about Woodrow Wilson, you should give, when you prepare your content, you should interlink it with current affair. This is how you will prepare paper 1. The theory with the current affair. You take any theory. Say for example, you're talking about politics administration dichotomy that was given by Woodrow Wilson. Politics administration dichotomy means what? Politics and administration should be kept separate from each other. Now, if you were to ask an example for this, the best example is recently Kerala, the Central Administration Tribunal ruled against the Kerala government, telling that with matters of appointment, transfers and postings of civil servants, the Kerala government has to consult the Civil Services Board. Clearly telling what? Politics should not directly be involved in administration. It should go through a proper process. So that is your example. So you take it from the newspaper and you put it here. Getting the point. Now when it comes to paper 2, where I told you most of it is going to be from current affairs, means you need to validate the current affair with theory from paper 1. Theory from paper 1. This way what happens is, you are validating it. Your paper 2 will look like a bad paper. Otherwise, if a Swachh Bharat mission is asked, you will end up attempting that entire paper like a GS paper. That is a mistake what most students make. They forget that it's a paper 2 of an optional paper and they end up writing it or attempting it as if it is a GS paper. When you're writing a bad paper, even if the question has been asked on current affairs, you are going to validate each or every point with the theory from paper 1. So your effort should actually go into studying paper 1 properly. Now, once you are done with paper 1 completely, you've collected your content, you've analyzed everything, understood everything. When you're studying it, one thing what I want you to do, maybe on a regular basis, daily, 5 pages at least, I want you to read New Horizons of Public Administration by Mr. Mohit Bhattacharya. I only want you to read it. I don't want you to study it. I don't want you to mug it up, nothing. If you find some interesting points, just underline it. The purpose of reading this very small book, it's a very small book. I think compared to all the books, textbooks of PubAd, that is the most smallest book. Why? Because it is not trying to teach you anything. It will give you a holistic understanding of the subject, which is what is required before you go to the exam. So I want you to read it just daily, maybe 5 pages per day. That's it. This is after you have taken up all the topics. As for my students who are watching this video, only one book I want you to read for PubAd paper 1, that is New Horizons of Public Administration, because watching all the other videos or other books, etc., already I am doing that job for you. So you need not waste your time in gathering the material and all. I am reading all the books and I am giving you the best content possible. So you need not worry. You only need to read what? My students, you only need to read this. For those of you who are preparing alone, who are preparing solely, first prepare the content of paper 1, and then once you're done with that, daily read 5 pages from this. More than enough. Again, for my students, again, those who are attending my class, you may refer for paper 2 either Goel and Arora or Fadia and Fadia. One of this book you may refer. Clear, people? This way, either one is enough, not both. One of this book will do. Clear, people? All right then. So with that, we come to an end of our class. Any further queries that you have, please do put it up in the comment section. Don't worry, we are always there to help you out. Any further guidance that you require, please again put it up in the chat section. Take care.